Okay, I'm back. This is part 2. So I'm going to just pick up where we left off. We should be on no, we did both the May 11th. Okay, so we're on May 12th now. So bought supplies on account from West End Supplies. So our two accounts there are supplies and West End Supplies, which is an account payable since we bought on account. So we're going to come down here to the supplies account first, because supplies is an asset that increases on the debit side. So that is going to be, let's see, what was it, $230? Yes, $230. So that's going to be a debit of $230. And then West End Supplies right here, which is not too far away, is going to be a credit because that's an account payable, which is a liability. Liabilities are on the right side of the equation. Therefore, they increase with a credit entry. Remember, credits are on the right. Debits are on the left. Credits are on the right. So May 12th, $230 is going to be credited to West End Supplies. Okay. All right. The next one, I'm trying to look at the transactions from a different computer so I don't scroll up and down. So it's May 13th. Received cash on account from Lee Chen, $650. So if we're receiving cash on account, that means it's going to be a debit transaction because it's going to increase. So receiving cash on May 13th in the amount of $650, right? And we received that from Lee Chen. So right here we see accounts receivable Lee Chen. That's the account we're referring to in this transaction. We see that they owe us $800, and they're paying us now on the 13th, is it? Yes, on the 13th, they're paying us $650. So if I can just stop and explain this for a second. Accounts receivable is an asset that increases on the debit side, so it normally has a debit balance. You can see here that on May 8th, Lee Chen, we set up an account receivable for him. He owes us $800. We're going to be receiving cash from him, so it's an asset. On May 13th, he pays us $650. So we credit his account. It'll go down, it'll decrease, and now he only owes us $150, but it's still a debit balance. That's why the normal balance side of any account is equal to its increase side, okay? All right, so the next one is May 15th, paid cash for miscellaneous expense. All right, so cash is going to go down because you're paying out cash, so that's a credit entry. So that's the 15th, and we paid out $35 for a miscellaneous expense. Oops, $35. And we got to go all the way down and try to find miscellaneous expense. It should be down here at the bottom. Yep. And it's May 15th. And expenses are always debited. So that's going to be the debit part of that transaction for $35. Okay. All right. The next one is May 16th. Paid cash on account to Sullivan Supplies, $60. So if we're paying cash out, we know cash is going down, all right? And that's a credit entry. So let's go all the way up here to the cash account. I'm going to insert May 16th, all right? And we paid $60 to Sullivan Supplies, which is an account payable somewhere down here. There it is, account payable, Sullivan Supplies. So account payables increase on the credit side, therefore they decrease on the debit side. So if we're paying money on this account, it's going to decrease the balance. So that's going to be a debit transaction. So that's going to be a $60 debit, and that is on May 16th. Okay, so here we owe them $300. We had set this up on our books to show that we owe them $300. A few days later, we paid $60, so now we really only owe them $240. Okay, but it's still the normal balance of an account payable is a credit balance because normal balance is the same side as the increase side. Okay. All right. May 22nd, paid cash for the electric bill, the utilities expense, and that's $65. So let's come up here to cash because if we're paying out cash, we know it's a credit entry. So it's the 22nd, and we're going to pay out $65. So we know that we have to go find the other account, which is utilities expense, because that was the electric bill. So let's go down here and try to find utilities expense. It's the last one. And expenses are always debited. So you're going to do May 22nd here and $65 debit. Now, May 23rd is the next one, paid cash for advertising. So this looks like might be our last spot for May. Oh, no, not yet. We have one more for cash. So 23rd, paid cash for advertising, and it was 105. So that's going to go down with a credit entry by $105. And then we need to find an advertising expense, and should be in here alphabetical, and there it is. And it is the 23rd. Debit this for $105. Okay. And the next one is the 25th. Sold services on account to Parker McCure, $550. All right, so you made a sale. So we're not too far from the sales here. So let's do that while we're here. We made a sale on account. All right, we didn't get money, but that Parker McCure will be set up as an account receivable now. And this was May 25th. We're still going to report the sale, even though we didn't get the money yet. So it's $550 credit here. And we're going to debit the account receivable for Parker McCure. Where is it? Here we go. We're going to debit this for $550, and the date was May 25th. Okay, and that's all that is to that one. May 26th, paid cash to the owner for personal use. That's going to be the owner's drawing account, $500. Paid cash, that means cash is going down with a credit entry. So there's that. And that's the 26th. Oops, 26th. And how much cash? $500. Okay, and that means we have to now debit the drawing account. So we have to look for the owner's drawing account, which is right here. And we're going to debit that on the 26th with $500. Okay, and then one more. Received cash on account from Parker McCure, $300. So received cash, that means cash is going to go up with a debit entry. We should have one last spot, and we do. So that's on May 30th. We received cash in the amount of $300. And let's go down to Parker McCure account receivable. That should be a debit balance, and it is. But we are going to credit that account because they're paying off their balance to us. So it's going to decrease their account with a credit entry. May 30th, $300. And so if we look at that, accounts receivable, Parker McCure, they owed us on May 25th when we sold services on account. We set it up so that they owe us $550. So their balance went from 0 to $550. So it increases on the debit side because account receivable is an asset. All right. So if it increases on the debit side, it means it decreases on the credit side. So when they actually do send us money, we have to credit their account so that their account balance reduces. And this company still has a debit balance. Not as much anymore as they did, but they still have a debit balance, okay? They still owe $250. So I think that is all of them. Let me just take a look. So cash has to be completely filled out. Accounts receivables and account payables, like I said before, can have entries on both sides. Supplies is only ever going to have debits. Same thing with insurance, okay? Account payables can have on both sides, just like account receivables. Capital account, you'll only ever see the credit side filled out. Drawing account, only side that's filled out is the debit side. Same thing for sales, only one side, and that's the credit side. And advertising expenses are always, 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 always going to just be the debit side. All right, so let me stop there, and hopefully that helped you. I'll see you in class.